What other kind of people showed up at your house besides Hal?
You name an agency: Homeland Security, DIA, NRO. Dad told you about that one.
Yeah, he taught me all about the NRO.
Yep. Air Force Intelligence, Army Intelligence, Naval Intelligence. I think I already said CIA. Obviously, I've met people from FBI. I've met virtually.
They all just knock on your door unannounced.
No, that's only happened unannounced only a few times. A lot of times it's like, hey, I'm coming through the area. Can I stop by? Sure, come on. Or get our number. Hey, so and so, introduce me to this guy who told me to get in touch with you. It's not always unannounced. Yeah. That was more or less a few times. But no, mostly it's just like, hey, we'd love to come visit. Yeah. Okay, come on in. Southern hospitality. You want coffee? You want tea? What do you want? Yeah. What do you do when the CIA is knocking on your door? You're going to say no and slam the door?
Were you at the house when that guy Tim showed up? Uh-huh. Really?
Yep. It was in my bedroom where
What?
Yeah, I helped him with the metal. Do you remember that story? Where he put the metals?
Put it in both hands?
Yeah, I was the one who helped him do that whole thing, where it was like one person at a time. Started with me. I held the metals first, and he explained to me, he had these charts where it was like basically showing that the isotopes of these metals were not from Earth. He was implying to me that this material did not come from Earth. It comes from somewhere very far away, and it's organic. He said it's alive, like it's some sort of living, sentient material. And he just explained how he was able to sort of like replicate this material, and he made like billion-dollar patents being able to replicate this material by yeah. The very cutting edge experimental technologies like hip replacement, bone replacement type stuff, because it's organic, right? So he figured out how to not reject the bone material. It's like if you just put a metal implant in your hip, your body's going to reject it. He figured out how to make it merge because it was organic. Oh, wow. And he figured out you take, I can't remember what the material was. I mean, I'm not a scientist, and he explained this to me quite a while ago, but it was like you create it in zero gravity conditions and it creates some new bond or I don't know.
He explained all of this to you.
Yeah, but I'm not a scientist, you know what I mean? So like I don't know how to convey it properly, but yeah, so he put it in my hand and he was like, just kind of pay attention, tell me if you notice anything. If you notice any sensations or any feelings or thoughts. And I was like, okay. He put the other piece in my other hand and it felt like static going through me, like, whoa, but it wasn't painful. It was like when the entity touched me, it was pleasant and I felt this energy and I'm like, oh my God, I feel electricity. Yeah. And he goes, okay, let's get the next one. And we went, my brothers, my sister, my mom, and then my dad. In whatever order, but we did Dad last. And then you heard the story with Dad. It was so powerful. I mean, I sat right there and I watched. The muscles in his arms were convulsing. I mean, this energy was so prevalent from this material. He was shaking and his vision blacked out. And it was basically described to us that this material it's like quasi-crystal. And I don't really know what that means, but
So that's why we got Steve. Steve will pull it up.
But he basically said that the fact that we had a reaction from this material in the first place was evidence to him. It was a way for these covert programs to, you say you're seeing an entity and then you touch this stuff and you feel nothing whatsoever, you're lying.
Really? So it's like a lie detector test.
Well, no, it's more so like it's reacting with your energy because you've been in the presence of an interdimensional entity. You see what I'm saying? Like that's what he told us. Like if
you have some sort of vibration going on inside you.
Yes, because you've been altered because you've been in the presence of an interdimensional entity. Wow. So he knew that we were telling the truth because we all felt this energy. And ironically, I had just started dating my wife at the time. She happened to be there. She didn't feel a single thing. She didn't feel anything from the metals. My mother did, all of my siblings and my father.
All of your siblings?
Yeah. And then my wife too. I was like, I don't care. People come around to my house and ask us, I don't care who you are. You're in my house. And I'm kind of like, can she do it? Get her in here. I didn't care about, being secret, whatever.
Did Tim show you guys anything that was like super confidential that you're not allowed to talk about?
I mean, yeah, but really it wasn't a big deal. It was just pictures of Area 51.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was, but it wasn't like he didn't show me alien bodies or anything like that. It was just pictures of Area 51. And, it's like basically indicating to us that there is a facility where this kind of study goes on. But the main thing that...
You think it still goes on there? I think they moved it all.
Area 51?
Yeah, like all the crazy studies.
I have no idea. Like he didn't show us anything that was like
mind-blowing.
Well, no, I guess what I'm trying to say is like he had an air of plausible deniability. Like he showed us photos of the facility, but he didn't show us any of the like, he didn't show me a craft.
Right.
Or anything like that. And I mean, it was pretty like towing the line of what, if I was a dude in a covert program, what would how far to the line could I get? Well, he got as close to that line as possible, and he told us he was going to do it. He said, I have a box, all right? And at the very edge of this box is how far I can go and what I can show you, classified information, things like that. I'm going to get right here to the edge, and I'm not going to pass it. So he showed us the pictures of Area 51. He showed us his badges of Area 51. He had like actual laminates, CIA, NASA, Air Force, and Area 51 laminates, like clearance passes. Like click, let me in the door. He showed us that. And he basically told us that, this was a very serious subject matter. It was the most classified subject. We are very seriously regarded in these intelligence communities. He said that if we had been talking just 6 years prior about our experiences and going public, that we would have probably been shot and killed, but that the times had changed and that they were loosening the protocol on how to deal with people. He basically said we have other ways of ruining your life. We don't have to shoot and kill you anymore. We can just we can do whatever we want. And he was like, we don't necessarily want you going public. Don't want you going on Facebook and talking and spreading this, anywhere or anything like that. And if you do, it doesn't matter because everyone will think you're crazy and they won't believe you anyway.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Well,
and you guys did go public with it.
Absolutely.
What did he say about that?
Nothing.
Is anybody trying to fuck with you for going? Did anybody ever, when you initially went public, did anyone try to fuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's hard to say. It's like, yeah, I mean.
And why wouldn't they want you to go public with it?
Because again, it's like there's a narrative, right? There are so many.
But if it's spiritual, what does it matter? Like, it's not good. Like, why do they care?
Honestly, like, it's a complicated question, it's because my take on that is, this may sound like it's out of left field, but it's about awakening, right? It's about the awakening of humanity. I mean, what does that mean? Well, right now we're asleep. We don't really know what's going on. We don't know the nature of things. We don't know the reality of things, right? To awaken means when we all kind of like expand our idea of things and realize there's something more than just this. There are other beings out there in other realities. There are energies and forces in other realities that are always all around us, which again brings us back to the Christ consciousness thing. It brings us back to the light thing, because if there are other dimensions and other forces, then we got to be more mindful of our thoughts and our intentions and our feelings and how we project. It's like there's more to us than just physical action. There's mental action. There's intent, spiritual intent, things of that nature. It's the kind of stuff the beings talk about. But awakening is when we realize there's more to this than just material life, that we have abilities. I mean, you know about the remote viewing stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're aware of all that. We can all do that. We all have some degree of psychokinesis or what's it called? Extrasensory perception. Mm-hmm. We all have this. We all have these abilities. It's just in order to access something, you have to be aware of it, right? You have to be aware that you have these abilities. You have to be aware that you are a higher consciousness.
That's what Diana Psolka talks about in her new book. When I read that, she was going deep into how I don't think she gave up his name in the new book yet. Maybe she did, but she keeps Tim pseudonymous in both of her books, I believe, and she talks about how Tim has some sort of like daily ritual protocol he does to keep himself in tune with this extrasensory thing, whatever it is. Like if we are some sort of biological antenna that can access some sort of doorway to extra perception, he has a thing he does every morning where he like drinks water and meditates and whatever.
No coffee is part of his protocol.
That was part
no
of it.
coffee.
No coffee, yeah.
Sunlight. You know what he told my dad?
No.
Get into Kundalini yoga.
Really?
Yeah. Kundalini yoga. They're very esoteric in NASA and CIA, man. And that's a rabbit hole in and of itself. But I want to stress, I do not want to say that all of these people in these agencies are bad. They're not. Some of them have been really good.
Of course not.
Some of them have written blurbs in my dad's book, saying he's telling the truth. Please listen.
Yeah, Jim Semivan.
Yeah, and John. Alexander.
Oh, John Alexander. Yeah. Yep.
And some of them, and Hal, he may have debunked us at first, tried to.
Hal did?
He tried to.
Povenmire. You're talking about Povenmire.
Yeah, Hal Povenmire.
Yes,
he may have tried to. They do have a job. But at the end of the day, some of these people have been very kind and very generous in trying to ensure that we feel heard and feel understood. It's like not all of these people in these programs are bad. I do believe it tends to be like Stranger Things season 4. This is my favorite example where you have this whole
you have
this scenario where like 11 losers are mojo, and you got one element of the government trying to kill her, and then you got the other element trying to like get her mojo back and put her out there to do her thing. It's like that. It's like some of them are bad, some of them are good. It's the way it is.